Okay, so this feels like the time to say it. I feel nothing for other people, or very, very little. What do I feel? Well, I feel lust or sexual desire and anger and pain and embarrassment and shame. Um, uh, the lust, it's just, it comes with a feeling of wanting to dominate other people, which I think is, or women, which is like I think it's a kind of a normal feeling for men, but it's not. It's supposed to be balanced and within the relationship, but and it's not extreme really, but it's just kind of a feeling I have. But um, and then I have my preferences, but they kind of reflect my. This is embarrassing, but they reflect my porn preferences because I had all this um, life of a spent all my life as like a gooner or like a secret porn addict, which is not a good thing, by the way, and it's embarrassing to even say. But reason I say is because it's actually common, like more common than you would think. And but yeah, that's all just cravings of the flesh or lust. And then I also feel guilt over all of these things, like those desires, and I feel distressed because I wonder how can I still achieve these things in a way that's allowable by God, like the Christian God, right? Biblically, like because I try and lead my life more like morally now, where I used to not, right? And a lot of people are amoral, especially young people, but actually just people in general. It's not a good thing. But yeah, so I just feel very little for other people. Like it's difficult because sometimes I feel more for other people, and then other times I really feel almost nothing. And also, it's on different levels. Like I feel something for people's soul, but you don't really get very much access to that when you're talking to people, obviously, because people are very guarded. But um, on a deep level, really, this the soul is from God. So love the soul, right? You have a soul. I have a soul. Everybody has a soul, whether they accept it or reject it. But it's from God, and the embarrassment and shame. I feel for like all of these different thoughts that I have, which I think are controversial, but I feel that for many different reasons, but it's a feeling of not being good enough for love and acceptance, and to be myself and be relaxed and expressive, which I think that's what everybody really wants, and to be a part of a group or in relationship to other people. But I have a huge difficulty with that. Like I have such a hard time with that. Like the social isolation is so hard. And uh, sometimes I feel enjoyment when there's no pressure. Like just being in people's presence is not so bad if there's no pressure, or if there's little pressure. I really like that. But a lot of times there's a huge pressure and it's constant, and people are just giving it off constantly with their expectations, and then it's hard because you have to like, or at least sometimes it feels like in order to relax around people you have to just meet all their expectations just to get them to relax, you know, so that you can relax. But yeah, and I like being in other people's presence with like a shared activity or not, but it's really nice, like going on a walk with somebody if it's your friend or whatever, but or just hanging out, that stuff is great, but there has to be a certain quality of just being present together, um, and being okay to be in the same place and share the same time. It's when you're around people and they're in a rush and they're talking about annoying stuff that you've heard before, or you know where it's going. It's like that I get frustrated with, and it's annoying. Like I don't even care. Um, But yeah, I wonder, why do I feel all these things? And I'm just going to list the possible reasons why. I have CPTSD, which is hard to live with, but that's complex PTSD. And then, that's from how I grew up. But I'm wondering if all these things, like, and I'm not saying I have all these things, I'm just listing possible things, but is it like sociopathy or psychopathy or anhedonia or derealization / depersonalization, or is it schizophrenia, the negative symptoms? Because I don't really think I hear voices. Like, I hear, I have my thoughts, but yeah, I don't think it's not. I kind of wondered about that, and from what I learned is it's supposed to, if you hear voices, it's supposed to sound like someone is talking to you, like you hear like somebody next to you talking to you. I don't get that. Um, Although doesn't always have to be a voice. I'm just saying that it could also be like a ringing or other auditory hallucinations. But yeah, I'm wondering if it's demons that are plaguing me. Probably that's involved, because I'm a Christian. So if you believe in God, then obviously you believe in demons as well, and the devil, but and angels too. But yeah, and then I struggle with the trauma-related hypersexuality, and actually I've been not doing any kind of like pornography or masturbation. It's embarrassing to say it, but kind of worth saying it because so many people struggle with this stuff, and people's lives are really messy, but just they don't share it all the time. But so I think it could be relatable, but I'm wondering if that's also like possibly an ADHD or OCD related thing, although I'm not sure. Or I've also been told I had traits of BPD, borderline personality disorder, or like cluster B traits, but kind of makes sense if when I come across as this. But and I also wonder if I have DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, but that's because it's hard for me to actually talk like this as I am now to people in real life. I'm always masking or putting on a different persona, a much more tempered persona. But then the thing is, I think other people do that too, so it's really a tough thing, like and then it's hard too, because if I release or open up more of my personality, you could say, or like other parts or facets, then yeah, it just feels complicated. But yeah, so I have trouble feeling things for other people, but also I feel strongly at other times too. I actually do feel very strongly that this world, like our society is getting worse, and I think that's not like an uncommon thing. Although 5 or 10 or 15 years ago is much harder to make that determination and say that, although intelligent people knew because they looked at trends, and they understood broader patterns. But now it's like so obvious, and so I don't like that feeling, but I don't think anybody likes that feeling of feeling like things are getting worse. And I specifically mean in the West. And for reference, I live in Canada, so but yeah, the reason I don't want to tell anyone that I have some sort of issue or disorder, whether it be schizophrenia, I don't know if it is, but is stigma. Like, especially that one, like schizophrenia. Like, nobody wants to say, hey, nice to meet you, I have schizophrenia. Like, dude, people will stigmatize you so quickly. Like, that just means they will shun you, have a tense smile and back away slowly, and then go talk to their friends about it or their family or something. And getting that reputation, it's like, man, nobody wants that. Like, you get avoided, you get treated poorly, and that's like factual. I'm not making that up. I went and I looked at the data on this. It's like 66% of people with schizophrenia experience that, and from one study at least, and so that's a tough thing. And it kind of makes sense though, because people with schizophrenia, they have more of a proclivity for violent behavior. I mean, it's like one of the worst disorders you can have, along with borderline personality disorder. Like, they are the worst. They are the worst. Like, in terms of worst disorders you can possibly have, it is schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, psychotic depression, and you could make a case for some other ones as well, but like severe anxiety with panic attacks, something like that, and whatever clusters into those, like OCD is actually somewhat of it's related. A lot of them are related, just so you know. Like, even though they have discrete names and labels, like a lot of them have overlap, but they are the worst. They are terrible. They are terrible. And I'm not saying that I have all of those and I know firsthand, but I know from the data because I've studied this stuff. Like, I have a psychology degree, like an undergraduate degree, which I know it's not a master's or PhD, but you still get a pretty good idea. So this stigma is the worst. And that too, I worry. It's like, well, if I tell people, I'm suffering, what if they use it against me? Like my family does or has. And nobody likes that. When I was trying to help my brother, because he has all these issues too, and it's like, so if your whole family has issues, man, it feels horrible because you can never have just like a nice time. But so he's struggling too, and then I'm trying to help him, because as much as it sounds like I'm a huge mess from these videos that I make, because I'm only using these to like vent and rant, but I really do have a lot of other things figured out and put together, and anybody can access this information. But I try and say, I'll help you with some basic things, and if I try and help him, he attacks me. Like, he seems like he wants help. He says he wants help. He goes to the hospital and he's having a terrible time with panic attacks and everything, repeatedly. And I tell him I can help him with stuff, and he seems like he wants help, but then when I try and help him and actually get down to it, he blows up like a volcano on me, and then he uses against me my own issues, and he brings them all to the surface. And that's the reason, okay, understand, that is the reason why people don't like being vulnerable with other people, because they've been hurt in the past, okay? It's a protective thing. The thing is, though, that it leaves you in the position where you're just withering and dying on your own. Like, you're not doing well just by yourself, although some people like to say that they're so great by themselves. But in rare cases that could be true, I suppose, but ultimately, we need connection with other people. And it kind of annoys me when people take the most extreme examples, the 0.001%, and they think that it's them all the time. It's like, is that every person? No, most people fall into the norms, right? So the thing I worry about is, like, what if people reject me? Who wants to be around with someone who has And I'm not saying I don't know, but who has schizophrenia or who has BPD or traits of BPD or an anxiety disorder or whatever, or depression or whatever it may be, the reason is because energetically it's hard to be around people like that all the time. And I know because I've done work in this field, like you really need to have your it's hard to do that. And I'm not trying to be mean to those people and myself, but it is hard to be around, and that's part of the thing. Like, that's part of the issue. Like, the social isolation that occurs is difficult. And also, I have a fear of being discredited too, or mocked. Like, nothing I say or have done has any value if I say that I have, like, if I'm suffering with this stuff, if I'm realistic and tell people what's going on. And ridicule and mockery online culture is very common. Like, if you just look on any Twitch chat or most places online, you're getting spammed with like schizo and take your meds and stuff. But that too, it's like nobody likes that as well. But it's a tricky situation. Like, seriously, it's like you need a safe space, but then you get into the conversation about safe space versus free space. And if you want to be taken seriously as well, it becomes harder also. You know what I mean? And it just feels like it makes it hard to build anything if you're stigmatized and counted out. But yeah, for ideas like around religion, or I have a book idea, a book draft that I wrote, ideas about the world and society. It feels like the burden of proof just becomes insurmountable because you get discredited for who you are, not for your ideas. Which feels horrible. Like, I don't want that. But then again, the average person is really retarded too. Like, it's hard to even get into this conversation, because if the person just trying to discredit you is just retarded and they don't understand what you're saying based on the fact that they're not smart enough to understand it, or like willfully don't want to, or something like that, or just seeking like an eristic victory, ERISTIC. Like, eristic means the appearance of a victory in an argument, but has nothing to do with truth. It just looks like you won the argument. Then, how do you even make progress there? So it's a tough position, which is, why I don't want to be in it, but it feels like I'm in that position, so I have to deal with it. Like, it's hard, And the other thing is that this is also why it's hard, but I don't like sympathy. I don't like sympathy or pity. I guess sympathy or empathy could be okay, but it's pity that I don't like. And being humored or patronized, I really don't like that. But yeah, that's a very common thing that happens if you share the struggles you're going through. And the reason I don't like that is because every time that's happened, it's for whatever reason, it's just made me feel worse, doesn't actually make you feel better, and it doesn't really solve the problem. It's just like you get pitied for a little while, and then everything goes back to the way it was. It's like, oh, well, that didn't help. You know what I mean? And so what I really would like is just to not be so socially isolated. That is the hardest part, actually. It's really hard. And it's hard too, because it makes it hard to like date. It makes it hard to do all these things, and everything is so fake as well when you meet people. So it's hard to like be yourself also, But I kind of have to get over that. There's nobody that's gonna come and like save you and figure everything out for you. The person who did that was Jesus Christ, but it still requires work on my part and for everybody's part. But it's just a harder position to be in, Yeah, and I wonder why people can't just be in a room with each other's company. You tell me, like, because I think that's a lot of what's going on. That people won't or can't do that. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Just that I'm struggling with that, and I'm at two points. Like I'm at the assessment point. Like I know things are not going well, but I've been at the assessment point for 10 years, and or longer, and then the other thing is like, well, what should I do? So it's the is ought. Like, okay, so I'm trying to accept what is going on. Then what do I do, right? Because my goal, what I want is like to be in the company of people, be accepted in everything, and I have trouble with that, both being accepted and I have trouble accepting other people too. So it's like, dude, this is hard. You know what I mean? But one thing I think about it is that I have to make the first step, because what happens in life is that a lot of times people just react to what you're doing all the time. So if people don't actually, it's almost like they don't have anything of their own that they're doing. They're just constantly reactive and defensive and in their own world. And I guess I'm like that too, but it's like the courage, you need courage at some point. Like, courage is a part of it. And then the courage to, like, first off try, because I think, what if I tell people, I have schizophrenia and I suffer from that and it's so hard, but would you still hang out with me? The courage to do that is hard, but then I have to do it over and over and over again if people reject me, you know what I mean? But then it would feel great if people would accept me, so, yeah. So anyways, that's where I'm at, and I had such a hard day today, seriously such a hard day today. I didn't even really leave my house. I just stepped outside for some sunlight for a couple minutes at a time. And then I kept, my body ached and I couldn't really think. I was trying to do more diary organizing. I couldn't really do it very well. And I took a nap. I had a great nap though when I did fall asleep. I'm thankful for that. And also I'm doing a fast today because it's Friday. So fast days are on Wednesdays and Fridays, but I only do Fridays because I can only do like a full fast one day a week. Otherwise I wouldn't get enough calories, because I'm also trying to go to the gym and gain weight, but and muscle mass, but yeah, my body just hurt, and like I was like, a lot of times this happens is like my body like convulses, or twitch might be the wrong word, or like jerks or something. Like I can control it through effort, but it's like, it kind of like almost like I want, like my body wants to do that. And also I do the trauma release exercises, if you lay on well, there's a few, but if you lay on your back is one of them, and you let your legs shake, that one's good. But yeah, it was a really tough day today, to be honest. And yeah, the loneliness is really hard. But yeah, I think I'm thinking I'll try to do something around just testing the waters to see if I talk to people and say like, oh, I have schizophrenia, would you still talk? Would you still hang out with me? Something like that. Like, I don't really like being in that position, but I think I might try doing that, and see what happens, and give that a few tries. Just sort of a general theme is that I'm being more outgoing and talking to people more within the last few months. But yeah, so I will try and do that and see how it goes. Might be good. So yeah, and yeah, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, I pray for a good evening, and I pray that the viewers, whoever might watch this, would have a good time in their life and be would feel the Holy Spirit come into their life and reach them in their heart and strengthen them, and that they would be granted mercy and forgiveness, and then feel the love that they desire. In Jesus' name, amen.